Hello everyone, it's me Clayson. I just finished watching Civil War, starring Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Kaylee Spaney, and Nick Offerman, and directed by Alex Garland. Now, with the huge division in America, with the nation being more divided than ever before, divided and angry, this sort of film felt like it was only natural to come out during the time of a contentious election year. But what came as a surprise to me is that despite the whole premise of the movie predicating on a second civil war, the movie handles its premise about as apolitically as you possibly can, and instead focuses on a story of photojournalists headed to the White House to find the president so they can interview him. As they as photojournalists, they have to search for the facts and simply show photos of what happened as what they are. They don't write the articles, they simply show what happened and let everyone else see what they want to see from it. So let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows Lee, played by Kirsten Dunst, who's renowned photojournalist who apparently has covered wars similar to Frank West. She ends up saving a young reporter named Jesse, played by Kaylee Spaney, and they, along with Joel, played by Wagner Moura, and Sammy, played by Stephen McKinley Henderson, have to head off over to DC in order to interview the President of the United States, played by Nick Offerman. He's a dictator of a president who's had his office for 3 terms, and as the nation descends into warfare, fighting each other for reasons that we, as the audience, don't know, the journalists have to go through various soldier checkpoints, have to go through dangerous battlegrounds, and have to head all the way to DC to get to the White House to interview the president before he's killed by the Western forces. That's all I'll say about the story. Now, it is true that the film never really states how the Civil War got started or why, or even what the Western forces and the Florida Alliance are really gunning for. But if you're someone who's familiar with American politics, you can probably fill in the blanks yourself. That's something I like about Garland's film. It doesn't tell you how to feel about the story, it just shows the story as what it is, which kind of fits the theme of photojournalism. As photojournalists, our heroes have to simply capture the moments that happen and let the audience view it how they want to view it. Let their own opinions decide how they view these situations, because they're not the ones who write articles about these sorts of things, and they're not trying to put a spin on the images that they show us. They simply show us what's happening with these various soldiers, what's happening around the country, and they simply want some answers from the president as to what he's doing regarding the Civil War and what his ultimate objective is. But as it's said many times by Sammy, even the biggest fascists can appear to be much lesser men once you get past all the people who protect them. And it's definitely something that rings true when it comes to the film's ending, which I will not spoil. I do think that Kaylee Spaney's character does get into a few too many scraps for her own good, and that she doesn't feel like she learns too much when she ends up in trouble because of her own impulsiveness. But I get the sense that she was included to show the more childish naivety of how the world works versus the more world weary sides of characters like Lee or Sammy. And since the scariest scene has partially been shown in the trailers, it definitely shows how divided the country can be when even saying you're an American isn't enough for most soldiers. And if you're not from America, you can basically bet that they're going to have a gun pointed to your head. It definitely shows the extremists on either side of the conflict, but at the same time, it doesn't really pick a side, and it lets the audience see both the ugliness of humanity but also the togetherness of it. As for every scary scene of soldiers shooting each other and explosions happening around American landmarks, there's also various scenes of characters bonding, characters joined together with what they have and trying to find the happiness where they can in a country that's seemingly gone to ruin. And that's how I see Civil War. It's basically a film that feels like it's pulled from the headlines, but also one that reminds us why we have those headlines to begin with, and the sacrifices that some people make in order to have us see these moments as they are in the first place. That's why I'm going to give Civil War an 8 out of 10. See you next time.